Hey guys, just finished watching Legend of Tomorrow, Season 4, Episode 4, Wet Hot American Bummer, and that is a good title for this episode because, yeah, what a bummer this episode was. It wasn't really a good episode. We have like a couple of points here. We start off with the episode with kind of Swamp Thing, Swamp Thing on the TV in the movie type thing, like a bad horror movie type thing. And that's kind of the concept there. We don't even get to see Swamp Thing through it in this episode. It's just they just literally had it on, and like Sarah was watching a bad B movie kind of with Ava now, and then we get Constantine mentioning that he knows a Swamp Thing, but it's a bit too, it's not far enough north, right? A bit too far up north type thing. I don't know. Interesting. You did mention that he knows a Swamp Thing, so I think that's interesting with that, especially if you go back to his show. We go to the Constantine season 1, I think there was a Constantine's shrunken head type thing in the first episode, that the camera just kind of pans off in his house type thing. So I think that was really cool. And seeing Swamp Thing in here kind of got me interested. And I'm glad the way it was done, it wasn't actually a Swamp Thing. They didn't, just do a practical effects on Swamp Thing. I mean, that would have been really terrible. And we do have the TV show coming up, if I'm not mistaken. The series is coming, the Swamp Thing series, which is going to be on the DC streaming service. I think that's really going to be interesting to see as to kind of how that kind of turns out. That'd be kind of cool to see that. So throughout this episode, they're kind of stopping kids from getting attacked, at the camp and stuff. And really not much happens until later on. They get Sarah and Ava get turned into kids and stuff, so they could get some information out of the campers and stuff, and dealing with that, and just seeing how Ray deals with the campers and how everyone deals with campers differently. And I would have liked to have seen, maybe how Rory dealing with these campers. That would have been a little bit interesting to see how he would deal with them, how he would connect with them, or how Zari would connect with them. Would have been interesting. Maybe even Nate. I think could have been interesting. Maybe a little bit more with Constantine. I like the way he used his stuff, where he tried to, he tried to. Hypnotize some of the campers to get some information out of them. I think that was kind of interesting, kind of fun. We see Constantine at the end of the episode. We find a bunch of kids, they've been drained. They're kind of, I guess, their souls or something has been kind of drained, or their life force has been kind of drained. And Constantine gives them a part of his soul or life force, whatever. Not really explained too much. And he kind of is drained at the end of the episode, and that's when Ray kind of suggests that they need to turn to Nora Dark to help Constantine and stuff. And I think that's interesting. That'll be quite cool. So I guess that's where it looks like that's where they're going with that. We even see Nora Dark at the end of the episode. Hopefully, that also is where she is in the next episode, because based on the trailer, it looks like they're going to Tokyo to fight some sort of giant sea monster type thing. And hopefully, that could be also where Nora Dark is. I think that could be interesting, like that, dealing with this, things like that. But on the face of it, this episode was, a super like filler episode. Yeah, they're dealing with kind of like, every episode of this season of Legend of Tomorrow is all kind of filler episodes. Because they're just dealing with, different. They always have these storylines that kind of that set up different filler episodes. So they're just attacking the little problem, not dealing with the big problem, which is the fact that magic is everywhere. If you could find a way to stop magic and get the big bad things behind it, then that would be interesting. Rather than just kind of keep stopping. You got to turn off the hose before you turn off the hose before you fix the kink in the pipe, right? If there's a leak in the hose, turn off the hose at the other end before you fix all the holes, before you start taping up all the little holes in the hose, right? And I think that's something that they need to do in this show. Now, it's only episode 4, so we'll have to wait and see as to where things kind of go. But this episode was okay. I liked the little bits with kind of the subtle things in it, with the Constantine kind of dealing with the problems that he's been going through. When he was kind of launched against the window and he had the blood written on his mirror and stuff. I think that was kind of interesting stuff. We got bits and pieces of that. He's still kind of worried about that, and he's kind of been worried throughout this whole episode about everyone around him gets in trouble, gets hurt, gets something. Him, and he even tells Ray that some people like him and Nora Dark need to stay away from you people because you're just gonna get hurt, right? And I think that's really gonna be cool to kind of explore that as things go on. Again, we get another episode like this. Another episode goes by, and she's all happy and everything is all good, and I like that. I know we've had a lot of sad Sarah, depressed Sarah, and we've seen a lot of that, and it's nice to see her happy now again, but it just drives me crazy that they're not touching upon the death of Quentin Lance. What was the point of having her if you're still not touching upon it? I'd like to see her happy with the death of Quentin Lance being a part of the storyline. Make her be like, pushing that storyline down. Maybe she's keeping that in there and then just kind of blows up later on. I think that would be an interesting thing. Maybe they're saving that. But does anyone else know in the Legends of Tomorrow that Quentin Lance is dead, that Sarah's father is dead and she was gone, Ava probably knows, when she got the call from Black Siren back at the end of last season, when she, in the end of season of Arrow, who was she with? Was she hanging out with Ava, that she got the call? And so Ava knows, like, oh, I gotta go, my father's, in trouble. Where was she? Was she on the time ship? Does Ray know? Does Rory know? I feel like someone other than just Sarah on the ship in Legend of Tomorrow must know that her father is dead, or at least that she got a call from someone having to drop everything she was doing and go hang out and go see them at the hospital, go see Oliver and all those people at the hospital, right? So they need to be bringing that up. Hopefully it does. Maybe they're doing some sort of thing where they're trying to, wait for it and maybe let her kind of explode because she's kind of pushing it in, but she seems too happy right now, and I guess I'd like that. It's different. It's nice seeing a different, seeing her happy and stuff for now, but at the same time, we just had that on Arrow. You gotta have the big thing like that. If you're gonna cross over for a big reason like that, you gotta have it come over, Otherwise, it was just a waste. It was just for Arrow, and that was kind of that I don't like when they just cross over. I need to see them change, especially when something big like happens. If she just went over to Arrow, did just help them fight out, help them with something, stop the criminal, and then came back and did nothing, and nothing that would really affect her, who cares? Okay, you don't need to mention it, right? Like when Diggle goes over and helps Flash with King Shark and comes back, doesn't need to mention it. Maybe he mentions it in passing to someone. Oh yeah, I went over and I was fighting a cool big giant shark, because since that's a fun story to tell people, casually say that, just that would be cool too. But you don't need to say it, right? Nothing really big happened, but she lost her father, she lost her sister. She's a clone. There's someone else who looks like her sister who's taken over his sister's role, and you have her father's dying. Those are a lot of big things to process that, she must be processing, and I'd love to see that. And I think it would be interesting to see as to, maybe Ava finds out that her father's dead or something like that. I think it could be quite interesting to see as to where things are going to go with that. Especially in this episode, Ava brings it back up that her parents are fake. She has a picture of the fake actors that were portraying her parents. Because she doesn't know what normal is like. She's trying to feel normal by keeping that photo, right? So I think that's all something that they need to bring up and they need to kind of address in this thing, is the death of Captain Lance. They need to address it in here at some point. Maybe she's repressing it somehow. I'd like to see just an idea of how she did it. Maybe she's okay with it because she's dealt with death so many times, right? So maybe how is she dealing with it? I'd like to know a little bit about that. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below. And what do you think about it? I didn't really like it. It was like, meh, okay. Forgetful episode. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.